Distinguished delegates, I hope all of you enjoyed the rest of the evening and had a good rest yesterday. We will now continue with deliberation of agenda item 3, major issues in transport, sub-item C, towards safe and inclusive transport and mobility. I now invite further comments on agenda item C from the floor. A quick reminder for those joining us via the e-conferencing platform Kudo for the first time today. To request for the floor, kindly click on the Request to Speak button. When your request is accepted by the Secretariat and you are called upon to take the floor, kindly click the mic on and camera on buttons on the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Kindly done speaking when you complete your intervention. Today, the first speaker is our distinguished delegation from country of Japan, and to be followed by our delegation from Towards Zero Foundation. Our distinguished delegation from Japan, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me an opportunity to speak. With regard to the inclusive transport, I would like to briefly mention Japan's initiative to support the implementation of regional action plans. We think that transportation is essential to people's lives and business, and the realization of universal design society is very important issue in the field of transportation. With the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games as opportunity, many efforts are being made to ensure that all people, including the elderly and people with various disabilities, can use public transportation equally, such as an installation of platform, doors, and elimination of steps in railway stations, introduction of non-step buses or universal design taxi, for example. Also, as I mentioned yesterday's session, we are making progress toward social implementation of MARS, which means mobility as a service, such as by conducting various demonstration experiments. For example, to achieve barrier-free, seamless, door-to-door mobility experiences to elderly people, people with disabilities, and other people who are hesitant toward mobility, we are providing online mobility support services through the Universal Mars Demonstration Experiment, which links multiple transportation providers and other related parties, as well as multiple modes of transportation, including railways, airports, and taxis. I believe that each of these efforts contributes to the realization of a society where no one is left behind, which is the overarching goal of the SDGs. Also, will be supportable in implementation of the regional action plan. Thank you.
Thank you, our distinguished delegate from Japan, for your statement and comments. The next speaker is our distinguished delegation from the Towards Zero Foundations. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to address the conference. I'm from the Towards Zero Foundation, a charity that's working internationally for a world that is free from road fatalities and life-changing injuries by promoting safe and sustainable mobility. Globally, over 1.35 million people lose their lives to road traffic crashes, and a million more are seriously injured every single year. And locally in the Southeast Asia region, the rate of road deaths is one of the highest in the world. And it is significantly higher than the global average of 18.2 per 100,000 population. For Southeast Asia, this is 20.7 per 100,000 population. And riders of powered 2 and 3 wheelers account for the majority of the road fatalities in the region. And globally, powered 2 and 3 wheelers represent about 30% of all deaths in the Asia Pacific region. This figure increases to 39%. And in some countries, this figure increases up to 62% of all deaths, such as in Thailand and Indonesia. This can be as high as 74%. So it's a significant issue. And we know that motorcyclists are vulnerable because of the lack of protection compared to car occupants. And because of this lack of protection, it is vital to focus our road safety efforts on crash avoidance technologies in order to increase motorcycle safety. One of the most effective motorcycle safety technologies available to date is motorcycle anti-lock braking systems. Research has shown that this technology can increase rider stability, reduce stopping distances, and increase rider fatalities by 31%. There's a lack of availability and penetration of this technology in Southeast Asia. And we would therefore encourage that the ESCAP 4th Ministerial Conference on Transport region-wide mandate to regulate for motorcycle ABS for all power 2-wheelers that is capable of travel speeds greater than 50 kilometers an hour in a bid to reduce the high burden on motorcycle fatalities and injuries in the region. And we kindly encourage the conference to endorse this suggestion. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, our distinguished delegate from the Towards Zero Foundation, for your statement and for your comments. The next speaker I would like to give a floor is our distinguished delegation from the AITD. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished participants, considering its magnitude and consequent severe negative impact on the economy, public health, and general welfare of the people, the road safety is one of the most important focused area of the Asian Institute of Transport Development, AITD. The institute has partnered with Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Government of India, ESCAP, Asian Development Bank, etc., in taking and implementing a number of initiatives for promotion of road safety. The institute, in collaboration with ESCAP, organized a regional seminar on road safety. The country representative in this seminar expressed keen desire that the institute, as a regional body, should organize similar regional training courses in road safety. The institute would be very pleased to organize such courses. The institute also organized a regional conference on safe mobility and regional connectivity in South Asia, Sub-Regional Economic Cooperation, Sub-Region, SESEC, in collaboration with Asian Development Bank and the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Government of India. The conference noted with concern that a large body of engineering and road safety professionals have not been exposed to emerging societal requirements and technological advancements. The meeting will be pleased to know that the conference recommended that AITD may organize training courses for participants from CESEC countries. The Institute is working to this end. The Institute is partnering with ESCAP in the implementation of ongoing project relating to improvement of driving license system in Lao People Democratic Republic. This project is financed under UN Road Safety Fund. The Institute would be very pleased to partner for more such projects in the coming year. The Institute has evolved state-of-art curricula and training material based on which it trained more than 3,500 road professionals in road safety engineering and road safety audit in India. The Institute has also worked a system of accreditation of road safety auditors, which when implemented would be the first of its kind in this country. Having regard to rich experience and expertise, the Institute will be happy to organize training program, workshop, seminars in association in UNESCAP, multilateral bodies, and country organization in road safety and other areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our distinguished delegate for your statement and for your comments. Distinguished delegates, would any other country delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item at this time? The next speaker is our distinguished delegation from IRAP, Mr. Subhamai Gangpat Hayai. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and very good morning to all of you. I am representing International Road Assessment Program, in short IRAP, and I would like to flag few points as follows. We at IRAP encourage everyone to support the new global plan for the decade of action and encourage national and local governments to set their own plans that are consistent with this plan. Number two, finding new and innovative ways to fund road safety is a high priority for all the countries. The impact investing initiative is something that all countries can embrace. Number three, we want to see that every road design, whether it is a new road, a road upgrade, or a rehabilitation, to have a star rating. Number four, we want to support the large-scale safety assessment with AIRAP. The purpose is to accelerate and intelligent collection and coding of road attribute data, which has the potential to reduce the time and effort required to undertake road safety assessments and reduce the cost and improve accuracy. Now, I would also like to mention that the UN high-level meeting on road safety will be held in New York on June 30th and July 1st, and head of state of ministerial involvement is expected and commitments to the Asian highway network being upgraded to a 3-star or better standard is a very positive commitment of UN ESCAP member states along with the national level policies like those announced in Vietnam. The other point is that building on the success of the China RAP, India RAP, Thailand RAP, Malaysia RAP, Pakistan RAP, it is great to see the new locally led programs taking shape in Indonesia, Kazakhstan, and other countries across the region. IRAP stands really to help any member state who would like to set up their own national program, and there are also opportunities to consider the UN Road Safety Fund application to implement the UNRSC development 10-step plan for safer road infrastructure as per the UNECA project in Tanzania. The next round of funding from the UN Road Safety Fund is in April 2022. As an example to the local collaboration, I am pleased to mention that IRAP has collaborated with the Asian Institute of Transport Development, a center of excellence in the Asia Pacific region, and set up a dedicated center which is operational from the campus of the institute. Under the Indian Road Safety Assessment Program, as an example, 24,000 kilometers of high-risk roads have been assessed, influencing the safety of operation on US $5.5 million of road infrastructure. About 3,000 kilometers of roads are being upgraded with the required safety treatments in place. It is estimated that these road upgraded work can result in substantial reduction of road fatalities. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the time given to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much to our distinguished delegation from IRAP for sharing your comments and your statements. Our next speaker is our delegation from UNECE. Distinguished delegate from UNECE, please, you have the floor.
Dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, each year about 1.3 million people are killed as a result of road accidents and 50 million more are severely injured. To raise awareness, the United Nations General Assembly adopted already several resolutions on improving global road safety. Recently, Resolution 74-299 was adopted in August 2020. The consequences of road accidents are devastating, not only for those affected in a road accident, but also for their families. Unfortunately, low and middle-income countries are disproportionately affected by road accidents. UNECE administers 59 legal instruments on inland transport, of which more than 8 conventions are closely linked to road safety, in particular 49 and 68 Convention on Road Traffic Rules, the 68 Convention on Road Signs and Signals, the 58 and 98 Agreement on Technical Regulations for the Construction of New Vehicles, and the 97 Agreement on Periodical Technical Inspections of Vehicles in Service. Then the 57 Agreement on the International Carriage of Dangerous Goods by Road, and finally the 1970 Agreement on the driving and rest periods of professional drivers. In April 2020, the ITC, our Inland Transport Committee, adopted its recommendations for enhancing national road safety systems, which is an excellent guideline for all countries on how to set up and improve their national road safety system. These recommendations focus on the 5 pillars of road safety, meaning the road safety management, which is a bridging pillar, safe users, safe vehicles, safe roads, and a post-crash effective response. For each of these pillars, these recommendations address possible actions for the area of legislation, to have a clear basis for enhancing road safety, as well as to designate responsible agencies for the implementation. In the area of enforcement, including inspection and audits, to make sure that rules, regulations, and standards are observed. In the area of education, to make sure that rules and regulations are well known. Then in the area of technology, to complement and strengthen the system's effectiveness. And finally, in the area of regulatory support, to provide the link to the appropriate road safety convention, supporting these actions in these areas. UNEC is servicing ITC and its subsidiary bodies in charge of these road safety conventions. For all countries that want to accede to one or more of these legal instruments, the Sustainable Transport Division offers capacity building workshops and full support in the accession process. On our website, you may find a publication on the history and basics of this safety system concept to make roads safer in the decade of action 2021-2030. Thanks a lot for your kind attention.
Thank you for our delegation from UNSC for your statement. Would any other delegations or country delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item at this time? I see none. Distinguished delegates, we have exhausted our time allowed for this item. Thank you for your interventions. A summary of deliberations on this item will be included in the chair's summary. The general conclusion that I can discern from the intervention on this agenda item is that the conference recognized that there are concrete ways in which transport can serve the social development agenda, notably accessibility, safety, inclusiveness, and social mobility, and that the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Development in Asia and the Pacific 2022 to 2026 will thus help to produce broader and more concrete socioeconomic benefits from transport connectivity by supporting evidence-based decision-making with improved data, analysis, and other tools. This brings us to the conclusion of discussion under agenda item 3C. Distinguished delegates, let us now turn to agenda item number 4, supporting implementation of the next ministerial declaration and the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Development in Asia and the Pacific 2022 to 2026, as presented to you in the documents ESCAP/MST/2021/INF/2. Can I invite the Secretariat to introduce the key points to this agenda? Ms. Tanatapon Rasamit, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So for agenda item 4, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, this is for the information document 2, explanatory note on the draft regional action program for sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific 2022 to 2026, which contains information on the background context, rationale, and other substantive details concerning the draft Ministerial Declaration on Sustainable Transport Development in Asia and the Pacific, and the draft Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Development in Asia and the Pacific 2022 to 2026. Next slide, please. For the Regional Action Program, the draft was developed based on the recommendation of the 6th meeting of the Committee on Transport, the result of the evaluation of the previous Regional Action Program for 2017 to 2021, lesson learned from the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the Sustainable Development Goals, with a balanced approach to the 3 dimensions of sustainable development. Next slide, please. The new Regional Action Program clusters 7 priority areas of the work under 3 overarching objectives. As you may see in the orange part on the top, those 3 overarching objectives are geared towards 1, efficient and resilient transport and logistic network and mobility for economic growth. B, towards environmentally sustainable transport system and services. 3, towards safe and inclusive transport and mobility. And if we move down a little bit from there at the green point, then we see that this new RAP also have linkages to all the transport-related SDGs. The priority areas from the previous RAP, such as regional infrastructure and operational connectivity, urban transport, road safety, remain prominent, while other previously standalone thematic area has been merged under broader headings, as you may see from the yellow part. New thematic area has also been added, digitalization of transport, low carbon mobility and logistic, inclusive transport and mobility are the 3 additional areas that was proposed in the new document in response to the recommendation received from the Committee on Transport at its 6th section and the evaluation of the RAP. Next slide, please. The Ministerial Declaration ESCAP/MCT/2021/L5 composed 2 major parts. The preamble paragraph set the context of the transport development in the region, and the operative paragraph include decision of the conference, including the adoption of the Regional Action Program, and also include requests to the Executive Secretary. Next slide, please. For the preparatory process, 4 preparatory meetings has been held earlier this year, one in July, the second one in September, third one in October, and the last one also in October on the 26th. In between each of these preparatory meetings, there has been some written consultation as well to negotiate the 2 documents. The meeting has been participated by senior official level from both capital and embassy from the total of 46 member states. The draft was finalized and placed under silence procedure on the 27th October. Note verbal has been circulated to all member states, and both documents has passed the silence procedure with no objections or statement of position. Also, the note verbal has been sent to all member states. Next slide, please. For the adoption process, following the silence procedure, the finalized document will be transmitted directly to the ministerial segment for formal adoption under agenda item 9. And that concludes my brief presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rasamit. Thank you, Secretariat, for this introduction. I now invite comments on the agenda item 4 from the floor. Our speaker is our distinguished delegation from country Georgia. Mr. Ketawan Sulkiyadze. Please, distinguished delegate from Georgia, you have the floor. So according some technical problems, Georgia cannot connect now. So would any other delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item at this time, please? Our next speaker is our distinguished delegation from Indonesia. Distinguished delegate from Indonesia, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished delegates, all participants, ladies and gentlemen. With regard to the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Development in Asia and the Pacific, Indonesia puts its commitment to the implementation of the integrated transportation system in the region, among others, through the acceleration of digitalization and the application of technology in transportation sector, while taking into account the sustainability aspects to support the effective and efficient transport network and connectivity. In this connection, aside from the use of electric vehicles, Indonesia encourages the use of alternative low carbon and low sulfur fuels, as well as non-motorized vehicles to create a more environmentally friendly transportation system in the Asia and the Pacific. Therefore, Indonesia supports the Ministerial Declaration and the Regional Action Program on Sustainable Transport to be adopted on the Ministerial segment tomorrow, to provide as a framework for stronger and more comprehensive cooperation among the member states under the ESCAP. Indonesia stands ready to work together with all member states in realizing a resilient and sustainable transport system and connectivity in Asia and the Pacific. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, our distinguished delegation from Indonesia, for sharing your statement and for your comments. And Would any other country delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item at this time? Thank you very much for your patience. The next speaker is our distinguished delegate from UNCRD. Please, distinguished delegate from UNCRD, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Our distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Transport is the circulation system for the world's communities and its people, and modes are its lifeblood. The global pandemic has reminded us that the communities are dependent on the transport networks, and that in order for the world's people to continue to thrive, they need to be connected to facilitate trade, culture, and knowledge exchanges. At the same time, the success of various global agreements, in particular SDGs and the Paris Agreement on climate change, depends largely on the performance in Asia, in particular, the transformational changes in its transport sector. Asia's transport sector is substantial to deliver on such international agreements and will always be essential to the society. And as such, it will need to keep pace with the demands of growing communities while decarbonizing at the same time. To this regard, the high-level 14th Regional Environmentally Sustainable Transport Forum in Asia was co-organized by UNCRD, UNDESA, the Ministry of the Environment of the Government of Japan, ESCAP, and Asian Development Bank on 18th to 20th of October this year in Aichi Prefecture of Japan, that discussed and adopted the Aichi 2030 Declaration on Environmentally Sustainable Transport, making transport in Asia sustainable 2021 to 2030, with an aim to catalyze transformational changes in the transport sector to achieve universal accessibility, safety, affordability, efficiency, resilience, clean and low carbon transport in both, covering both passenger and the freight transport system in Asia. Aligned with the objectives of achieving the SDGs and the Paris Agreements, among others, the Aichi Declaration, with its 6 dedicated goals, aims to place in Asia in the forefront of new collaborative approaches to bring transformational changes in the transport sector of Asia. This will include enabling changes to policy institutional frameworks, financing models, data management approaches, application of technology, and people and environmentally friendly transport infrastructure development in the transport sector of Asia. The Aichi 2030 Declaration also aims to serve as a good catalyst towards improved global reporting on transport, climate, and sustainable development. The emerging partnership with Asian Development Banks through its Asian Transport Outlook will lay the foundation for the future country reporting on the Aichi 2030 Declaration. The new indicator framework for the Aichi 2030 Declaration would allow the member countries as well as the other regional stakeholders to monitor and track progress against the agreed 6 goals of the Aichi Declaration, while the countries will be able to share good policy and practices during the EST forum. UNESCAP's Regional Action Program, which was presented just before on sustainable transport development, and the Aichi 2030 Declaration are very much complementary to each other in addressing the needs of the member countries. We sincerely look forward to having close cooperation with the member countries as well as the development partners in implementing both the Regional Action Program and the Aichi 2030 Declaration to achieve meaningful synergies. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, our delegation from the UNCRD for your statement. And I see that we established a connection with our distinguished delegation from Georgia. So, distinguished delegate from Georgia, you have the floor, please. Excuse me, your microphone.
Yes. Hello, dear colleagues, dear delegates. I'm happy that I managed, notwithstanding the technical issues, I managed to join this session. Thank you for this opportunity. Well, Georgia in overall supports overarching objectives as well as thematic areas put forward by the UN ESCAP. Last decades have been especially very productive in terms of improving connectivity and accessibility of our transport and logistics industry. But of course, we bear in mind that there is a room for improving many issues in this direction and benefit not only Georgia, but also entire region. Our ongoing efforts and efforts in large extension coincides with the Regional Action Program 2022-2026, and we believe our actions will contribute to the greater good of transport and logistics industry. I would like to particularly mention several large-scale projects that have regional and transcontinental importance, which will improve connectivity in general. Construction of Baku-Tbilisi-Kars new railway line project, for example, is one of the most important projects which connects by absolutely new railway line Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey with environmentally friendly transport such as railway. This project is a bright example of several countries collaborating for enhancing sustainable transport connectivity, which positively impacts trade and general socio-economic development of this region. We also have several very important projects in the pipeline, such as seaport infrastructure. We have in pipeline development of new Anaklia deep sea port, as well as development of existing ports by expanding existing port, for example, in Potisi port. Moreover, highway and logistics sector development is also on the agenda of the government of Georgia. Moreover, we emphasize on importance of corridor and seaport digitalization, which are supported by our partners and international donor organizations. I would like to take this opportunity and express our gratitude for all donors contributing to the digitalization of transport corridors through Georgia and in digitalization and establishment of single window in Georgian ports. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, our distinguished delegate from Georgia, for your comments and for your statement. And the next, I would like to give the floor to our distinguished delegate from ADB. Please, you have the floor. Distinguished delegate from ADB, please, I'll ask you to kindly reconnect to Kudo, please.
Sorry for the delay. My name is Jamie Leather from the Asian Development Bank. Transport is an enabler of development and plays a central role in international commitments such as the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement. In this regard, the Asian Development Bank has prepared the Asian Transport Outlook, which contains information on transport across the Asia and the Pacific region. The database covers transport infrastructure, transport activity, and transport externalities such as road safety and emissions at both the local and global level. In addition, the Asian Transport Outlook includes specific reports on transport policy and urban transport. The Asian Transport Outlook allows for the monitoring of the transport sector across Asia and the Pacific with respect to the SDGs and Paris Agreement. ADB, together with our development partners and UN bodies, are keen to work with economies across the region to improve transport access and services and provide support with commitments to international agreements. The Asian Transport Outlook is a multi-year program and supported by ADB and is an open source database. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our distinguished delegate from ADB for your comments and for your statement. Would any other delegations or country delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item on this time? So I see none. Distinguished delegates, we have exhausted our time allowed for this item. Thank you for your interventions. This brings us to the conclusion of the discussions under agenda item 4. Distinguished delegates, let us now turn to the agenda item 5, other matters. Under this agenda item, the conference is invited to take a note of the following. The chair and the vice chairs of the senior officials segment of the fourth session of the Ministerial Conference on Transport examined the credentials of representatives received by the member state in accordance with the Rule 12 of the ESCAP Rules of Procedure. The Bureau noted that credentials had been received by a total of 39 member states and found them to be in order. Are there any other matters which any member would like to bring to the attention of the conference? recognize our distinguished delegate from Iran. Please, our distinguished delegate from Iran, you have the floor.
Thank you for giving me the floor. Distinguished Mr. Chair, honorable senior officials, and ladies and gentlemen. Due to the special geographical situation of Iran, it has a high potential for the expansion of railway network and providing the connectivity in the region. Therefore, construction and completion of railway corridors passing through Iran and efficiency increasing measures are the main Ministry of Roads and Urban Development goals among its rail transport strategies. In line with the mentioned goals, Iran, Turkmenistan, and Kazakhstan railways organizations have signed a trilateral memorandum of understanding on 26 November this year and are launching a project under title of Commercialization of KTI Corridor, which is supported by ECO, UNESCAP, and ISDB. Furthermore, Ministry of Roads and Urban Development has conducted vast studies on logistics networks and has released the Logistics Network Comprehensive Studies as its result, and is pursuing several programs to enhance multimodal transportation. Distinguished delegates, it is emphasized that from Ministry of Roads and Urban Development point of view, the expansion of international corridors in the region is not a competitive issue, but a common goal for enhancing the regional connectivity and supply chain resilience. And in the end, it is acknowledged that Ministry of Roads and Urban Development would appreciate further consultations and attention to the mentioned issues. Thanks for your kind attention.
Thank you very much to our distinguished delegate from Iran for sharing your comments and for your statements. Are there any other matters which any member would like to bring to the attention of the conference? So I see there's non-speakers, non-requests. So we are now at the end of our time for this morning. This brings us to the conclusion of discussions under agenda item 5. It has been my honor to chair part of this meeting of the senior officials segment. I would like to thank Chair and other vice chairs for excellent collaboration. In particular, I should like to thank Mr. Sukmo Yuwono, Deputy Chief of Mission and Deputy Permanent Representative of Indonesia to ESCAP, for his support as the meeting's Vice Chair and the guidance and advice provided to the Bureau and the Secretariat. I would like to invite our distinguished Vice Chair to share his remarks on our meeting. Please, Mr. Yuwana, the floor is yours.
I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates. Finally, I would like to extend my appreciation to all of you for your great participation and fruitful discussion we have been through. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow in Ministerial segment of the 4th Ministerial Conference on Transport, during which the report of the Ministerial Conference will be adopted. The opening of the Ministerial segment will be start at 10 hours Bangkok time tomorrow. I now declare the senior official segment of the Ministerial Conference closed. I now give the floor to the Secretariat for any administrative announcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, dear participants, kindly note the link to access the conference through Kudo tomorrow will be the same as today's. Delegates who join via Kudo are welcome to join 30 minutes before the session starts for connection testing. So please note that there are other side events this afternoon as follows. From 12:30 to 14 hours Bangkok time, connecting globally through sustainable shaping. And from 14 hours to 16 hours Bangkok time, transport connectivity and COVID-19 pandemic, pathways for global resilience and sustainability. The Zoom link to join these events is now shared in the chat box. I would also invite the attention of the conference to a short slide of ESCAP transport related publications and knowledge products. A very short slideshow. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and see you all tomorrow.